So before we get into the very first episode of Further Investigation, I do want to let everybody know that quite a while ago, maybe 2 years ago, Jake told us that he is not meant for short form. He needs to be a movie or at least like a 12-part Netflix series.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So in accordance with that, you're going to get some bonus episodes because Further Investigation ended up going longer than we expected just because we were having such a good time in the world and we didn't want to cut out any of the mystery to fit it into 4 episodes.
Really, it's just because we were very bad investigators. The last 3 episodes, I'm sorry, this is a spoiler, but I have to tell you. The last 3 episodes are just Jake like spoon feeding us the culprit and us just like following a chicken around.
If you've ever seen like the shot at the end of a movie where an adult is leading 4 children away by the hands, we haven't even recorded those episodes yet. Hopefully you don't judge us for our future investigation skills. But yes, so we will still be starting season 5 on the first Wednesday of August, which is the 3rd. But you're just going to get some bonus stuff. So we hope that you enjoy Further Investigation, and we will see you next week.
Hello, everybody. How we doing today?
Great.
So jacked to be here.
Do we
you
all
look jacked? Look at those arms.
Do we all have our Deerstalker caps on? Because it is investigative time.
Da-da.
Megan and I are so ready.
I have my magnifying glass, both of them.
I
You're
have my
overqualified for
mystery
this.
detective swag.
I brought dice.
Did you meld both of your magnifying glasses just into regular glasses?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm
Like
always
you're
I'm
twice as
always looking
perceptive.
through I'm always looking through magnifying glasses.
So we are playing an arc of Further Investigation. For those of you who haven't heard us talk about it before, Further Investigation was a detective-style Pathfinder game that I used to run for Rev and Tass. And we have talked about adapting it in some way or picking it back up, but we had covered a lot of ground back then, and we've been sort of uncertain how to do that. So this is the official prequel to Further Investigation. When we started that game, we started them at level 3, like in the midst of their careers, and this is kind of like the official, as far as I'm concerned, this is what happened at level 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. And depending on what happens at level 1 and 2, this might be like a timeline divergence.
Yeah,
You
it's like the new Star Trek.
Megan and my characters die by the end of level 2.
Oh, no.
Spoiler alert, Kim and I are dead at the end of level 2, and then
Rev and Tass
Somehow-
go alone. Yeah.
Or you both go, hey, you know what? These dudes are insufferable. Let's go do our own thing.
Let's
and then
just
they're
start
like,
mystery detective.
So right out of the gate, I want to say, I know how we always talk about, when you listen to us play the games, you ought to learn how to play the games. That is not going to be the case. Nobody knows all of the rules to Pathfinder. Like
Even the people who wrote the game.
The people who made Pathfinder, the people who play it professionally for years and years, nobody gets all these rules right. So apologies. There will be times that I say people can do things that maybe mechanically they shouldn't technically be allowed to do, but it's no fun to just shit on somebody's inability to do a thing. So before we begin the story in earnest, let's talk about our characters. So first of all, let's go into the people who already existed within the Further Investigation universe. Let's talk about Rev and Tass's characters first here. Tass, who are you?
I will be playing Quinn Ironweld, and the class that I'm playing is called Slayer, which is a hybrid class between the Ranger and the Rogue. So he is very much a fighty boy in many different situations. So Quinn's kind of a good old boy. He was raised out in the country. He's kind of a stocky guy with the last name Ironweld. It's theorized that somewhere back in his lineage there is some dwarf blood because he's just kind of stocky, wide shoulder, tough little dude. But he just kind of got sick of being out in the country. He liked finer things and made his way to the city. But he's still got this upbringing of being a good tracker, a good hunter, good with a bow. He uses a scythe as a weapon because most of his family has gotten good with them and kind of used them as like a signature family weapon. And upon arriving in Magnamar, started using his strength and his abilities for literally like tracking people down, and even just little part-time stuff to start as like a bouncer and things like that, that I think got him on the radar of some of the others as possible good help for tracking down people or investigating otherwise hard to track mysteries.
And I am playing Rayner Faraday. When we first envisioned these characters, we were essentially doing like a Holmes and Watson, and we both picked hybrid classes because Pathfinder is hard with just 2 players, so we made sure to pick people who could kind of do everything between the 2 of us.
Yeah.
And so I am an investigator, and that is a hybrid between a alchemist and a rogue. And I specifically am an empiricist, which is one of the archetypes of investigator, which means that the facts are the most important thing to this character, and they can replace a lot of their skills. Instead of rolling wisdom or strength or charisma, they can use intelligence. They can use the way they use language and things like that to work around situations as opposed to the normal means. He has like an eidetic memory. He has a vast wealth of knowledge, skills, and one of the things an investigator gets is they get a bonus die when they are trying to know things, and it's something that they actually don't even have to spend on knowledge skills. They can spend it on other things, but they can just do it for free. And so I think it was a lot of his just perceptions of things and knowledge of history and the area and the local culture, just standing outside, like in line to, buy groceries or whatever, and hearing the guards talking about something and piping up and, oh, actually, this is what it was on this date and da-da-da, that got him into being a private investigator because he was giving information to what was the law here, but maybe didn't necessarily like the way that it was being utilized, or maybe didn't think things were being done enough.
And then the newcomers, who in the canon now actually aren't newcomers. They've been around as long as you guys. Megan and Kim. So, Kim, who are you playing?
I am playing Thomasin Laniidae, and I am a half-elf bard. Something that her party members would know, but is not public knowledge, is that Tom originally went by a different name, or a stage name, rather. She was fairly well known in the opera scene as an opera diva by the name of La Sirena. Now, if you follow the opera scene, you would know that La Sirena died 2 years ago during the closing night performance of the opera The Tragedy of Lysithea. La Sirena was involved in a tragic accident where she stabbed herself with a dagger that was supposed to be a prop, but was swapped for the real thing, and died on stage in the middle of a performance. Now, 2 years later, La Sirena is back, though going by a completely different name, somehow back from the dead, and exploring a new career. But she hasn't exactly talked about why she's doing that.
I like that. So, does anybody know that this is the same person, or like
the three of you know for sure, definitely. But I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think she's keeping it a secret for now.
Okay.
Megan, who are you?
How did
Megan,
you get in here?
What are you doing here?
Who the fuck are you? Get out of here.
Why do I know your first name?
I am playing Celestine Saros. I am a gnome sorceress. I have the Star Soul bloodline, which comes from a line of stargazers and explorers, and they kind of have that connection not only to like planets and stars, but the void in between them. She is an accountant. She's an accountant who works for the city. She gets in trouble a lot for being very sleepy at work and falling asleep on the job. And when she is not falling asleep, she is just daydreaming. Very.
Is this me? Are you playing me?
No, I'm playing me, but also this sounds bad for both of us to have. I hope neither of our bosses listen to this. Because, no, but she's so sleepy all the time because she prefers to be awake at night. She loves looking at the night sky and all of the beautiful stars. She spends a lot of her free time doing astrography and charting different planets and stars and doing a lot of like celestial mapping. And so like some of the spells and stuff that she has as a sorcerer are related to different things in like outer space.
All right. So we find this party at the circus. Specifically at the Umbra Carnival. The Umbra Carnival is a traveling show that travels all over the continent. They have a series of like unique performers and events. They've got lots of the common fare you would expect at a circus or carnival, and they just kind of roll into towns. Little towns, big cities, doesn't matter, wherever they can find space along their route. Currently, they have rolled into a town just outside of Magnamar, the city where you are all kind of headquartered, called Ilsurian. And they have set up in the fields to the north of this little kind of rural town outside of the city. You are all here celebrating the first case that you cracked together as a squad. What was that? What have you guys done that you have just recently wrapped up?
I know we have not talked about this out loud. Is it something related to, like, similar to Thomasin's death? Like that someone was at a theater, like they thought that they were going to have something happen to them. And so it was like, we just happened to be there, that, you know, I was in the audience and, you know, someone was working backstage, or someone was like, that we were all just happened to be in the same location and worked together, or like what's something that we all would have been at?
Like it was a place that we all just happened to be, and then we solved it together. Like,
is it the state's, the city's theater, and so like you do the books for it, and you know that good state-run theater.
Listen, this is my fantasy realm.
Yeah, that's fair.
We can have some publicly funded theater.
Yeah.
Listen here, commie. I like this idea, like, you know, because I want to know if you weren't already into detectivery, like what has brought you into it. So it would make sense that you were all at a thing that you were into anyway, whether or not an investigation would have happened. So yeah, tell me about it.
Personally, I think I was there as an audience member, and I don't know if Thomasin was in the show, in the audience, but since we know her story, like I feel like I recognized her from seeing her on stage before.
Yeah, that's absolutely, like, I didn't want to introduce that without checking with you, but like I think you were the person who immediately put the pieces together, being like, oh, I know who you were. Also, you died somehow, but
yeah.
I think I was actually there. I was like dragged there by a friend, and I wasn't really interested, so I wasn't really paying attention. But I think that's what made it really good for me to work on this, was since I wasn't distracted by the things everyone else saw, I was able to think about the facts without being influenced by all the things everyone else had seen.
Was I that friend? Because I could make a justification for us knowing each other beforehand. If you work with money in the city, and if I have worked a few times with like local enforcement, that maybe you're the one who gives the stipend out.
Yeah, sure.
It's like, oh, would you like to come to the theater with me? It would be a very good time.
Also,
nice.
Rayner needs friends.
Yes.
I think for Quinn, I think I am coming to the theater for the very first time ever. Like, somebody was talking to me about me, you know, buying something nice that I otherwise wouldn't be able to afford. And they're like, you know, you really want to throw around some finery, go get like the box seats at the theater, get the most expensive this or that. And so I saved up, and this is just where I happen to be. And
feet up on the railing.
Yeah, exactly. Eating a bag of chips loudly, like just not
opening
knowing.
a really loud candy.
Yeah. And whatever it was, whatever the situation was, eventually there was a runner. Like whoever was responsible, somebody bolted, and I went, "Oh, I can do that." And
jump from the box onto them.
Yeah, I mean, dead ass, absolutely. And that's I had nothing to do with any of it until the end.
I like it.
All right. So what happened? Like what was the incident and what was the resolution? How'd you all solve this?
What was your role there? Like, were you watching? Were you in it?
I definitely wasn't in it. I think I was in the audience.
Yeah.
So it was somebody on stage who thought they were in danger. Oh no, because we weren't hired to do this. We just basically all of happened to be there. Yeah, I think it had to be like somebody on the crew.
Yeah, like an accident happened on stage, but it wasn't an accident.
Yeah.
Like the person who owns the theater was trying to claim the insurance money or something.
Okay. And how'd you guys figure it out then?
The stagehand who like was working with the fire and the lights and stuff, and like that there was a breakout of a fire, didn't have any like calluses on their hand or anything. They've never handled these ropes before. I think that was like, I'm trying to think of like if we each caught a piece of it, like what's the piece that we noticed?
Yeah. So that's okay. So Rayner noticed like physical evidence, like they couldn't have been doing what they said they were doing.
Yeah, and that this is someone completely new because they don't have any markings on their hands to show they do this work 7 times a week.
Yeah. I could absolutely imagine that Thomasin noticed things that were like too real, like fire effects and like other things that should be this way or that way to give the effect. Like maybe she was like, whoa, wait, what are they doing with that? Oh, that's going to cause a problem.
Yeah, I like that.
And the person they were trying to pin it on, I realized wasn't actually tall enough to reach, like where the rope was tied off or something.
Your expertise as a short person.
Yeah, I'm like, that would have been very difficult for them to get something to climb up and put it all away. That it was pinned on them because that was their role. That's what they should have been doing. But they were like, something was set up so they would be distracted somewhere else, so that like if it was like a rope that caused something to drop and crash on someone on stage, the person who should have been handling that thing wasn't there.
Yeah, and like I know that Quinn has like strong perception and tracking. Maybe the runner, like the person who caused the accident that you chased down, you noticed like you found like a petal of a flower stuck underneath the collar of their jacket that is what the owner of the theater wears as a boutonniere.
Ooh, yeah, okay.
Nice.
I like that.
All right. And so ultimately, did you all get a confession out of the culprit, or did you just prove they did it and they were like taken kicking and screaming into custody?
I think I got a confession.
All right.
I think being tackled from the second level and
quote, tackled from the second level.
Yeah.
Bombed from the second level.
Exactly. I think there was just all right, get off, you know.
I imagine there being no confession, like taking away kicking and screaming. You'd be like, just could I talk to them in the green room for a second? And then suddenly confession.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So you have all closed this case of the attempted theater murder and are having yourselves a little bonding, like getting to know each other better, celebrating what you have done at the carnival. So it is opening night at the Umbra Carnival. There are throngs of people here, you know, not just people from Ilsurian, but people are coming in from the city. Largely, though, it does seem to be the rural crowd here. It seems to be the locals of the town that they set up outside of. And that seems to be kind of what they were going for based on like the pricing you're hearing around. You know, things are pretty cheap at this carnival. And maybe that's not always the case. Maybe it's just because they are here, but it is affordable for the townsfolk of Ilsurian. So as you enter the parade grounds, the festival grounds, you see these throngs of people and you hear a carnival barker just calling out to everyone who comes in, explaining the festivities here, that you could check out the midway where there are games and events going on. You could check out the traveling zoo where they've got all of these fantastical creatures. You could go see the sideshow where they've got some odd performers, trinkets, and artifacts. You could go to the winding market where there are all sorts of vendors and curiosities. And when the time comes, you can make your way to the big top to see the evening performance. But that is not for a while yet.
Help me out. What does everybody look like?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, Quinn is not particularly tall. He's about 5'9", but weighs like 200 pounds of muscle. He's got light brown hair, which is almost always covered in a very nice light brown leather flat cap. And he really doesn't like, as much as he likes the nicer things, when he's just out strolling around and stuff, he's just wearing nothing fancy, just kind of, work pants and button-up shirt with overalls. Stays fairly nondescript.
Rayner is like 6'3", very slender, pale of skin, with black hair and green eyes, and just dressed in kind of a long coat and a shirt and vest and tie and pants.
Tom is about Quinn's height, like 5'9", and she has shoulder-length, wavy, dark auburn hair, and her eyes are this very pretty hazel color. She is dressed in what would commonly be thought of as menswear, but it is tailored within an inch of its life to show off her figure. And at her waist is a very fancy looking rapier.
Celestine is about 3.5 feet tall. She has very straight blonde hair that almost reaches her ankles. And she moves very quickly because she has to keep up with everyone. So it's usually just kind of like following behind her. Like it doesn't reach the ground, but it's being almost always just kind of blown back as she's moving. So it's almost kind of like she looks like a little shooting star. She has these dark blue eyes, and she wears a very, very cute, long-sleeved, knee-length blue dress that kind of matches it, that has little silver stars all over it. Oh, she has a little backpack. It's pretty cute.
Nice.
What are you guys interested in checking out at the carnival?
Food. Where's the food?
There is food everywhere. There's no particular place you need to go for food. There are vendors just walking about. Every one of these areas has booths containing food vendors. You're going to be fine. What do you want?
I've heard tale of this this item on a stick that it's meat that was deep fried, and then they covered it in like funnel cake and then deep fried it again, covered that in powdered sugar.
And it costs a copper piece. So mark off a copper for however many of those you want.
Absolute highway robbery.
It's like 7 silver gone.
Yeah, he crosses out 3 gold.
By the way, it reminded me as Rev was explaining the scenario, and he mentioned the lights in the theater. This is sort of an anachronistic world where it's a weird blend of fantasy and turn of the century, and that's not necessarily the stock setting of Pathfinder, but that's just kind of the place I end up. So things like electric light are not out of the question. Things like firearms are not the rarest or non-existent. Rich people have those kinds of things. So just keep in mind as you talk about stuff, if it seems like somebody might have misspoken about something that shouldn't exist, it might, honestly. It might be the kind of thing that for some reason exists in this world.
In that case, I'm riding the tilt-a-whirl.
But it's just a barbarian that has a chair tied to a rope, and you sit in it and tie yourself, and it just spins.
All right, my turn, buddy. Sit down.
That's going to cost more than a copper, because you got to the insurance, the physical therapy.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, for both of you, for both the
rider
number of
and
barbarians
they have to employ, since they only get so much rage a day.
The MRI scans that you have to do afterwards, it's expensive.
What else do we want to check out?
I want to go look at the animals.
Okay. Yeah, you head over to the traveling zoo. The traveling zoo is sort of in the northwest corner, past the big top. And they've got an assortment of critters. A lot of it is sort of mundane-ish zoo fare. They've got deer, they've got a reptile section, they've got petting zoo animals like goats and sheep and llamas and stuff like that. But then they've got some more interesting, sort of rare creatures here. They've got a giant stag beetle in a big pen that is just sort of rolling its big old balls of poop around. They've got a black bear here that is kind of sleeping lazily in its container. They've got what they have. They've got what they have.
In its takeout box.
Yeah. Black bear. It's in a trash can. It's a black bear. It wants to be in a trash can eating the trash. They're just big raccoons. They've got what they have called a baby dragon. It is some kind of small reptile here that there are guards like kind of keeping people like, don't get too close to this one. It's pretty dangerous. And they actually have a manticore that has had the spikes on its tail removed to be safer. But there are also guards like making sure nobody gets in petting zoo range of those ones.
Does the baby dragon, like, can I kind of scrutinize it and see, like, wait, what is this exactly?
Like, are the guards actually keeping people away from safety, or is this a show to make it seem like a real dragon?
Why don't you roll knowledge nature?
Okay. 17.
As far as you can tell, this is not a dragon.
Yeah.
In fact, it seems to be a monitor lizard. That they are just kind of playing up for the sake of the attraction.
I think I just jot that down. It's like, fake lizard. What about the manticore? And just kind of taking notes about everything and thinking about the amount of food that it would require to feed it if it was an actual dragon.
There's also a very large tent here, like second only to the big top, that has a sign out front that says the lair of the Sphinx. And it also has 2 guards standing in front of it.
Like, are all the animals in their own tents, or is there kind of one big tent that has this faux dragon and...
No, these are all sort of like outdoor exhibits. Like
Okay.
these are all like, wagons with cages on them or enclosures that have been dug out. This is the only tent in here other than like vendors. This is the only tent and it's enormous.
Okay. Well, then once we're done with the faux dragon, I have to go over to the Sphinx because my understanding is they have knowledge and they like riddles.
Yeah, you approach the tent. The 2 guards kind of put a hand up and let you know that you can't go in right now, and they gesture to a sign, which breaks down that the Sphinx performs at specific times of day. So it has a performance in like the midday, it has a performance kind of mid-afternoon, and then it is in the evening show in the big top, which things are gearing up towards soon. So the Sphinx is unavailable to be viewed right now.
Oh, okay.
How much longer?
A nebulous amount of time, depending on how much else you want to do at the carnival.
But its next listed appearance is
the big top show.
Okay.
Yep. The evening's main event.
So camping out here won't do me any good.
No.
Okay.
I mean, it could. You just have to wait a long time.
Yeah.
What about everybody else? What are you interested in at the carnival?
I want to go to the market.
Okay. You head into the winding market. It is just kind of sprawling like passageways of carts and vendors and just people walking about with their wares and trying to sell you things. It is a lot more like high pressure than anywhere else you have been in the carnival so far. It seems kind of unregulated here. But there are merchants, there are performers, there are diviners, kind of anything you could imagine here. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for a new astrolabe.
Yeah, absolutely. You find a vendor who has a booth set up that is kind of like covered in blue velvet with golden stars all around it, and their whole thing seems to be like space-themed curiosities. And they definitely have an astrolabe?
Yeah,
astrolabe?
An astrolabe.
I almost said astrolabe, and I was like, that doesn't seem right.
That's where you cut space and time.
You're cutting a hole in space.
Yeah, an astrolabe is kind of like a space compass, and they didn't have one in the starting equipment for Pathfinder when I was building this character, so I'm using this opportunity to get one anyway.
Yeah, this merchant is showing off this device, which consists of a flat disc upon which 2 other discs are mounted. The mounted discs can rotate. And it looks like it's made of like solid gold, and they are asking you 100 gold pieces for it.
Okay, well, I have 19.
Roll a diploma if you want to haggle.
Sure.
Roll a diplomacy check,
Oh, goodness. Okay.
and the DC is very high.
I imagine Rayner just standing next to her. A few people know this, but the upper disc represents the sky and just explaining.
14.
No, they won't take it.
Okay.
Absolutely not. It now costs 150 gold pieces because you had the audacity.
Quinn is absolutely just amazed at the information that Rayner is spouting too, by the way.
Gives you a +2 circumstance bonus on knowledge geography if used correctly.
I'll be goddamned.
What are you talking about?
He's so smart, he pierces the 4th wall.
Yeah, it's like he's seen through the fabric of our world.
Oh no.
And he can with the use of an astrolabe.
Thomasin, what are you up to?
I want to go to the Midway.
All right. Yeah, you head into the Midway, and it is this is like the busiest with guests right now. This is where all of the games are and where there are a lot of performances going on. So you can see like the classic, like strongman swing a mallet and hit a thing game. You can see signs for something called the Lovely Madam Mask, which seems to be an occasional performance game of some kind. There's a tent with somebody named the All-Seeing Hajek, and just an assortment of ways to spend your money, spend your coin, and earn some prizes. What do you want to look at?
Listen, you had me at lovely and madam. So what is that about?
Yeah. So there is a pretty big like pavilion tent at one end of the Midway here, and it's actually got like 3 raised runways that kind of make like an arrow shape. That like the point of the arrow is in the middle of this tent. And there is a carnival barker who is encouraging people over. And as you get closer, he lets you know, would you like to place a bet? This is a betting pool type of game. It's a game of observation, but everyone can put in some coin, and if anybody is successful, then they get half the pot.
Well, very fortunate for you. I'm a betting woman.
How much do you want to put in?
Is there a minimum?
I mean, the minimum's probably a copper piece. That is the minimum amount of currency.
Oh, I mean, let's do 4 gold.
4 gold. God
Yep.
damn. All right.
Listen, I have profession gambler.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you put 4 gold into the pot. The carnival barker, like, I mean, his eyes just widen. It's rare for anybody to be throwing around that kind of money at the fair. And he continues to go around and collect more from the rest of the group. Does anybody else want to put anything into the pot here?
Sure.
How much?
How much do I have to gamble to win 100 gold?
150 gold.
What are the odds in this game?
10 copper to a silver, 10 silver to a gold, 10 gold to a platinum.
I will do 1 gold.
Okay, still a lot. Still a sizable portion.
I am just watching with rapt interest.
Okay.
I'll put a gold in.
All right. So we've contributed 6 gold.
I'll put in this astrolabe I just stole.
All right. So he continues going around, gathering a crowd, adding money to the pot, and people, the crowd starts to pool around here. And then after a while, he raises the curtain on the sort of center stage of this point, and there is a tall rectangular box that is covered in mirrors. And then off to the side of that is a raised, like a speaker's podium. And the carnival barker steps up behind the podium and proclaims the arrival of the lovely Madam Mask. And the mirrored box opens, and a woman walks out. She is wearing a sort of provocative red gown tied up with like ribbons. She is wearing all sorts of like scarves and earrings and necklaces and like accessories. She is just completely covered in baubles. And most notably, she is wearing a silver mask that covers her entire face. With the exception of her eyes. You can see her brown eyes peeking out through the eye holes of this mask. But otherwise, this mask just portrays the image of an attractive woman. And she walks down the center runway. And as she does, she is just kind of throwing like, flirting looks and gestures and like, blowing kisses off the mask to people in the audience. And she walks down the center runway and she just kind of stands there posing and voguing and putting on a show for everybody for about a minute. And, everybody in the crowd is like clapping and oohing and awing and so thrilled to see her. And then she turns back around and walks down the runway and goes back into the mirrored cabinet. And the carnival barker taps a stick on the podium 3 times, and then the box opens again, and 3 of her walk out. Each one walks down an individual runway. but they are all wearing that same red gown, but substantially fewer items on their person, substantially fewer accessories. And the carnival barker calls out that the crowd, as a collective, has 1 minute to determine the matching item that one of these three is wearing to what the original Madame Mask was wearing.
Yep.
So anybody who is playing, give me a perception check.
Can I do one just to see if I catch it?
Yeah, sure.
25.
20.
24.
22.
Jesus. Okay.
Listen, you put a beautiful woman on stage and I'm looking and I'm paying attention.
Yeah. No, fair. All right. You all notice that one of them is wearing a flower that you definitely spotted in the lapel, like not the lapel, but like a boa that was wrapped around her neck that had this flower kind of weaved into it. But Kim, with the highest skill check, is the first one to notice and to call out. And as soon as you call out your guest, the two other illusions vanish. And the third one that is correct starts kind of clapping as it fades away. And the box opens again, and the actual Madame Mask walks out, and she is clapping just as the other one is as she vanishes. And she like looks over, and like, did all of you, did you guys still yell out your guesses if Kim beat you to it? Like, were you kind of just a second too late? Like,
yeah,
okay. So I mean, she looks over the whole crowd, but like she obviously looks at your squad, that all of you got it way before anybody else. And she comes over and she kind of crouches down in front of Thomasin and does like a come here gesture with her finger.
I will approach.
She grabs at the end of one of the ribbons on her dress, and like pulls it very slowly so that it unties. And then she loops it through part of your hair and ties off the bow and gives a little like blown kiss gesture off the mask to you and to the rest of the group here. And then she stands up and waves again as she returns to her mirrored cabinet. And the carnival barker lets you know that if you want to see Madame Mask again, then she will be performing again later this evening. But for now, that is the end of this particular showing. Is there anything else in particular anyone wants to investigate here in the midway or any other part of the zoo?
Well, now, hold on. What did I win?
Yeah. What about the gold?
Oh, yeah. Drat, you got me, says the carnival barker as he tries to scurry away. Let me roll some dice. There ended up being a grand total of 13 gold pieces in the pot. So he rounds it up for you. He gives you a 7. So you guys get just over half of the pot in return, which was basically just what all of you bet. You went too high. Nobody else could match you. Everybody else was in the coppers and the silver pieces range. Yeah. But you earned a gold. So congratulations.
Nice.
Assuming you're going to redistribute what your teammates put into the pot. I shouldn't assume that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. So thus I will take my 4 gold plus the extra one that I gave and set it down on top of Madame Mask's mirrored cabinet.
Okay. Just as a tip?
Yeah. I wasn't playing to win. I was just playing for the experience.
Okay.
I was playing to win. What do I get?
You get your money back.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I would tell you could take that money from the top of the cabinet, but you can't reach it.
Rayner, give me a lift.
You're going to need help.
Let me get on your shoulders.
Hold still. I'm about to vault up there off of you.
All right. So having gotten your pay and the Madame Mask show officially concluded, is there anything anybody else wants to try and squeeze in before the evening's main show in the Big Top?
Yeah, if there's any of the fun, like physical stuff, like swinging the hammer or like, I don't know, any little obstacle courses or just, I don't know, anything fun like that Quinn could stretch out and do, I want to give a try.
Yeah, I mean, the guy running the hammer game, it's got a sign that says King of the Carnival out front, and the guy running that is like enthusiastically trying to get people to come play the game. And I think as soon as he lays eyes on you, I mean, he's just like pointing to you, pointing to your arms, and he's like, come on, big strong man, come try it out, give it a shot.
I'm absolutely like pointing at myself like faux, confused. Me? What? Me? These arms?
And flexing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this guy is huge. Like, this guy looks to you like a strong man. And he is like grinning and nodding. And he picks up this big, heavy mallet, and just tosses it to you as you walk over.
Awesome.
And so there is this tower. It's like 3 foot wide. It's 12 foot high. And there is a stuffed, like a plush lion's head at the top. And he just gestures for you to give it a swing. Smack that,
All over the floor.
The simple machine.
Yep.
What's the simple machine that you hit to make one end go up?
Teeter-totter?
A seesaw.
What's the technical term?
Oh,
Wow, none of
I mean,
us were physics majors.
maybe just a lever.
Financial.
Maybe just a lever with a fulcrum in the middle.
Come on.
Whatever. He tells you to hit the thing to get the thing to slide up and hit the thing.
Okay.
So give me a strength check.
Okay. Oh no, that sucks. 6.
Yeah. You bring the mallet down, and the piece of metal kind of slides like impotently halfway up this thing and then clangs back down on the ground. And this guy gives you such a scathing look, like a look of disbelief. He looks at your arms again, tries to determine if it's a costume. And the stuffed lion's head at the top meows at you and then licks its lips.
I'm laughing my ass off. Yeah, all right. His fair shit's probably rigged anyway.
He looks like flabbergasted. He's like, no, of course not. This is a contest of strength. I would never rig such a thing. To prove one's strength is the greatest honor.
I would like to try it.
I more than anything.
Okay. Rayner, give me a strength check.
And I'm going to use one of my actual points of inspiration on this. Like, I'm studying the angle that the hammer has to go down, and
Okay.
23.
All right. Rayner
With my
steps up.
0 strength.
Rayner steps up, and the guy gives you a once-over and very gingerly hands you the hammer. And you bring it down, and that metal slide rockets up, and it hits the lion head, and it lets out a roar that is just deafening. Like, you suspect the entire carnival must be able to hear this. And the strong man looks blown away by this. He is momentarily shocked into silence and then just erupts with laughter.
You see, Quinn, it's not exactly that it's rigged, but it is more about the location of the hit than the strength of the hit.
I don't think I heard most of that because I'm laughing right along with the guy and just slapping you on the back. That was cool, man. That was real good.
Shall we now call you Your Majesty, since you are king of the carnival?
And the strong man like smiles. He holds up a finger yes, wait, just a moment. And he walks behind his little table behind this, and he comes back with a little cardboard crown.
Yes.
And he tells you to kneel.
I just stare at him for a very long time.
He places it on top of your head gingerly anyway. And he yells out for everybody in the midway, "All hail the king of the carnival!" And a handful of people are like, "Yeah."
And by the time they look back, it is on Quinn's head.
Okay.
The fuck?
All right. So I think that as the lion's roar starts to fade in your ears, it is replaced by some distant shouting. It sounds like there is a bit of a fuss being kicked up back over in the area of the traveling zoo. What do you guys want to do?
Oh, I don't like that running over. It's just instinct to break up a potential fight, so I'm going to go see what's up.
I just want to see what's happening.
I wonder if they're moving the Sphinx.
Oh, yeah, I'll follow.
All right. As you head in that direction, there is a little bit of a cut through from the midway into the traveling zoo. So you are able to kind of approach from the side as a bunch of guests, a bunch of townsfolk are actually fleeing out of the traveling zoo area and screaming. And you see running about on the ground the baby dragon. It seems to have somehow slipped out of its cage or something, and it is running around and hissing at fleeing carnival goers and snapping its jaws at people who get too close.
I want to run up towards it.
It squares up and hisses at you.
I cast Speak with Animals.
I don't know if you have.
I do. I can
You have
cast
Speak with Animals?
I can cast it once a day. I get it for being a gnome.
Okay. Fucking how to speak with animals work. I didn't see this coming.
Listen, you put
no matter
you
what game
you
we're
put an
playing,
animal in a game, Megan's gonna want to talk to it.
I just didn't think she had the means. I wasn't paying attention.
I think regardless, no matter what class she's playing,
I didn't have the
Megan
ability.
Megan starts with speak with animals.
The Komodo dragon's like, the ringmaster did it. You're like, oh no! I can't believe the Komodo dragon
The whole
saw.
fucking arc's over. This whole story's over.
One episode, right back to it.
All right, well,
When
GG.
At the beginning of this, when Jake was like, "This could be over real quick if you guys do exactly the right thing," he meant this.
This is what he meant. Oh no.
Okay, you cast Speak with Animals, and suddenly in your ears, the hissing of this, quote, baby dragon turned to words. And it's going, get away, leave me alone.
Baby dragon, it's okay. What happened?
I'm not a dragon. What are you talking about?
Oh, so, I'm sorry. They said you were a baby dragon.
No.
What happened?
I don't know. Somebody opened my cage, and I got real, I ran out, and everybody's everywhere, and I got real scared, and I just don't like it here, and I don't like all these people.
I understand. They're very, very tall, but come here. I'll keep you safe.
Make a diplomacy check. What's a monitor lizard's sense motive like?
19.
Okay. The lizard scurries over towards you and kind of like plants itself between your legs like a well-trained German shepherd would.
Okay, all I'm thinking of is that I'm gonna ride this monitor lizard now.
And it kind of like bears down, and it's still looking around, and like to the rest of you, it's still like hissing, but it seems to be kind of like hissing at everybody else and resting confidently between Celestine's legs.
And what did we hear from Celestine? Did we hear words or hissing?
I think you hear words. I think I'm gonna go with it. Still like sounds like common to the rest of you. The spell description is that you can ask questions and receive answers from animals. It doesn't specify any sort of language, so I think just magically your words are translated and its responses are translated in your ears.
Okay. Monitor lizard. Not baby dragon. Monitor lizard.
Monitor lizard. Okay. What monitor lizard? What is your name?
I don't have a name. I'm gonna be honest. I've never spoken to people before, and I've never had to introduce myself or be identified like this.
Can I call you Baby Dragon?
I guess.
Okay, Baby Dragon. Somebody opened your cage.
Yeah.
And let you out. Was it somebody who works for the carnival? Were they letting all of the animals out, or what happened?
I don't know. I mean, it didn't. There's nobody. They didn't look. I didn't know them. They didn't look familiar. And as you're having this conversation, a man runs up. Or a humanoid at least. He has gray skin and what look like almost like huge elephant ears that like drape all the way down his back. And he runs up kind of in a panic and sees this and seems like immediately relieved. And says, "Oh my God! Oh, bless you! Oh, you got him! You got him under control. Is he okay? Is everybody okay?"
I think he's okay. He's really scared. What happened?
I don't know. I heard all the people panicking and people were yelling about the baby dragon, and the dragon had escaped, and I just flew over here and I wanted to check on things. But it seems like you got it under control. I can help you get him back in there. He's kind of keen on me. Like we've got a good bond. And as he's talking, Megan, you can hear the monitor lizard saying, friend.
Oh, yeah. I give him a little hug and I like push him towards. Like, okay, go. You can be safe now. He said somebody let him out of his cage. And I'm looking around at everybody else as I explain this.
Hey, Ray, you suppose she actually hearing this thing talk?
Yes.
I'll be goddamned.
Do I see the guards that were guarding this monitor lizard prior?
Yeah, I think around this time, as this stampede is starting to thin out, like basically everybody is out of this area, it seems like the guards have been trying to push their way over, like they've been looking for it and haven't been able to get through the crowd. But you see a few of the guards that you recognize having guarded different parts of the zoo, like looking around and kind of communicating with each other, and somebody seems to notice you guys. And you also see a different man that you don't recognize, who is a little bit more like well-dressed. He seems like he's got a bit of a higher station, but does seem to work for the carnival. Comes like running over, just flushed and out of breath. And he runs up and he says, "Oh, is everything okay? What's going on? Faraday, what's going on?" And the gentleman with the big elephant ear says, "I don't know. They said that somebody let the dragon." And the other guy kind of like flashes him a quick like, "Oh, no, don't say that," kind of look. Somebody let the dragon out of the cage, and I guess these folks were able to wrangle it for us. And the guy who has just run over is still catching his breath, and he looks at all of you. And I think his eyes kind of settle for a moment on like the ribbon in Tom's hair and on the crown on Quinn's head. And he just seems to take stock of those things. And then he says, "Well, thank you very much for getting this under control. We'd hate for any harm to come to any of our guests or any of our creatures." And he gestures for some of those guards to come over, and they come over and like gently, like a few of them scoop up the lizard and start to walk it back to its cage as the eared man, who you now know is named Faraday, starts to follow after.
Hey, Cel, that was real cool. How'd you do that?
Sometimes if I focus really hard, I can talk to animals and hear the things that they have to say and communicate with them. Not for very long and not a lot of times, but sometimes it's just kind of without thinking because they look really scared and I want to make sure that they're okay.
It's a hell of a trick.
Yeah, he seemed really, really frightened, didn't know what was going on. I wonder how somebody let him out. Well, there were guards there, right?
Yes.
This well-dressed gentleman says, "Oh, you can be sure that I'll be having a word with these guards, trying to get to the bottom of this. This is a peculiar situation, but thank God for all of you, and it looks like you've all been making good on some of the events at this carnival already, eh? I see some trinkets upon you from some of our more esteemed performers."
I won a crown.
We've been having a wonderful time.
Well, I can't overstate how glad I am that you all were here and that you were able to take care of our baby dragon for us. If there's anything do you need, obviously, the Big Top show is going to start soon. Are you all interested in viewing? No charge. We'll let you in for nothing as a token of our gratitude.
Well, that sounds excellent.
And I would assume, since we are in the presence of royalty, that you could perhaps reserve some very excellent seats for us for tonight's show.
He make a diplomacy check.
Okay. 18.
Yeah, I mean, he seems a little bit like momentarily a little caught off guard at like being bartered up from already offering you something nice. But he doesn't seem inclined to like kick up a fuss about it. And he says, sure, of course. I'll talk to the master of ceremonies and make sure that we reserve you some excellent seats. If you don't mind, I'm going to go tend to the baby dragon here and start talking to the guards, but I appreciate it and enjoy the show.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was your name?
Oh, sorry, my name is Berthold.
And what is it you do here?
Oh, I'm the circus's master of beasts.
Wow, that sounds like a very important job.
Well, we have quite a few of them, so it is a substantial responsibility.
As they're carrying the monitor lizard away and they're having this conversation, can I do a knowledge nature? I want to see if I know how good a sense of smell a monitor lizard has.
Yeah, sure.
17?
Rayner, you know that monitor lizards have an excellent sense of smell. They are able to detect things that are approaching. They can sniff out things that are hiding. They can track things by their sense of smell. Their sense of smell allows them to identify things about as well as a person's sense of sight allows them to identify things.
Okay.
Good for them.
Good for them. Yeah, is there anything else you guys want to do? Or do you just want to go check out the evening show?
I think it's showtime.
Yeah.
All right. You all head over to the Big Top, and it seems like Berthold was able to get word ahead of you. They see the crown and the ribbon, and they just part the curtains and allow you inside. And somebody actually walks you to like some front row seats right along the show floor. And you are treated to a wonderful performance. There are acrobats. There are singing and dancing acts. There are clowns. Sorry, Megan. It's a circus.
It's okay. I'm not there.
And it all sort of gears up towards what seems to be like the main event, which is the Sphinx. And you all see there is a big to-do made about this creature that is just barely under their control. They have only just been able to tame this Sphinx, and they reveal this creature from behind a curtain, and it walks around, and it does some things that the ringmaster tells it to do, and then it seems to break free from his control, and it kind of walks around, and it walks up towards all of you and like snaps and growls at you. But ultimately is back under the ringmaster's control. He's able to reel it back in, and it all sort of seems like the bit. And the evening show concludes, and on your way out, actually, Bertold comes and finds you again, and hands off a small bag of coin to all of you with 50 gold pieces in it, as an additional sign of appreciation for taking care of the monitor lizard. He lets you know that it would have cost far more than that to replace their irreplaceable baby dragon. So this is just a small token of appreciation for all of you.
I think reflexively, not even very loudly, but every time he says the word baby dragon, I'm just saying very quietly, monitor lizard. Because I did monitor lizard.
And then I whisper back to him, that's his name now.
Oh, that's like the time Quinn had that dog named Fish.
I love that dog.
And the show winds down. The carnival starts to turn out its lights, and guests start to exit the grounds as you all head back home after a surprisingly eventful and successful evening of celebrating your successes. The next morning, Quinn, you are awakened by a knock at your door.
Okay, I'll go answer it.
You recognize someone wearing the garb of the Umbra Carnival workers standing at your door. And he says, are you the king of the carnival?
Oh, yes I am.
Well, my boss has asked that you and your pals that were present last night and helped with the incident with the baby dragon, come speak to her as soon as possible.
I'm like rubbing the sleep out of my eyes. I'm in the pajamas, but I still have the crown on.
Oh yeah.
He's like, what was I thinking? I didn't even need to ask. I can see clearly.
It's like it was cardboard, so it's all like crumpled in on the side that he laid down.
Yeah.
But
Gather your royal court.
Oh, my liege.
It was just really on account of it was a gift, so I like, Anyway, yeah, what's this about?
I think that's probably better explained by her.
Yeah, all right. I don't think I have anything to do today. I'll gather them up. Well, I mean, any of them that wants to come, but I'll be there at least.
All right. Appreciate it. I'll see you soon.
Have fun.
And he turns to depart.
I will go one at a time to each of these three and see if they're interested on joining me.
Yeah, Quinn, where do you find them? Or I guess everybody else, where would Quinn find you?
If it's early in the morning, Rayner's profession is brewer. Because I thought it would work good with all of the alchemy stuff.
That makes sense.
And so I think that I'm at one of the bars that's not yet open, working on putting together some different beers and stuff. There's all these pipes and barrels running everywhere. It's the first microbrewery.
Very first. We're breaking ground.
Ray, you in here?
Yes.
Hey, so one of them carnies showed up saying they needed some help, and since we helped them out, they wanted to know if we, want to go talk about something. I was half asleep. I didn't really catch it.
Oh, was there some kind of problem?
Yeah, seems like it.
Yeah, very well. Taste this.
Oh, yeah, all right. I don't even say all right. I just take it and drink whatever is handed to me.
What is it?
How is it?
Poison.
poison. Yeah.
Do you feel the numbing in your lips or your liver first?
I need to test this antidote. Drink this real quick.
Now drink this.
I have a -1 constitution now? What does that mean?
Now drink this.
Make a fortitude save.
The expediency of it cannot be expressed enough.
And I do.
Oh, it's not bad. It's it's a 15.
What's a 15?
My brewery. The beer that I've handed him in the morning.
Did you just make a craft brew? First of all, it's craft brewery, which is great. Did you just make that check?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Craft brewery. That's beautiful.
It's something that's been brewing for a while. Like I'm tapping one of the new kegs.
Nice.
It's a breakfast ale.
Yeah,
It's got some cranberry in it.
It's full-bodied and it has a
It's an
fruity
oatmeal
taste.
stout.
Yeah, man, this is full body. This got a fruity taste.
Yeah, let's go.
All right.
Where do they find Thomasin?
Oh, I'm still in my room in the inn that we're staying in.
I'm just knocking on the door until the end of time or the door opens.
Yeah, I'll open the door. Yes.
Hey, you up?
Clearly.
Hey, the Carnies came by and wanted some help with something and wanted me to gather up folks that helped them out last night. I mean, really, it was Cell that did all the talking to the dragon. What the hell is it?
Monitor lizard.
Monitor lizard. Anyway, but, we was all there, so they just looking for help for something. Want to go?
Sure. And I turn over my shoulder. I'm so sorry, darling. I'll have to take a rain check. If you could just see yourself out. And I think we see one of the acrobats from the Big Top show gathering her things and leaving my room.
Tied by the wrists and ankles to the bedpost with a gag in their mouth.
Honestly, I like that too.
We're just heading back if you want to do the cartwheel of shame back with us.
I've seen her work. She's extraordinarily flexible. I'm sure she'll get out of that in no time.
Oh, all right.
She just looks like a wagon wheel rolling along next to you all, just cartwheeling the whole way.
All right. Where's Cell about this time of day?
I assume being an accountant, unless you took a vacation day.
Ugh. Let's go.
Where is Celestine?
She's at work.
Where is work? I know it's for the city, but do you work in like a little shitty back room office somewhere? Do you work in one of there are relative high rises here, many story tall buildings?
I think it's like a open floor plan office. So there are multiple accountants and it's all one room. I think it's on one of the levels of probably one of the high rises for the city.
All right, I'm just strolling through this area until we come up to you. Hey, this is my actual hell. You want to do anything else?
Yeah, and I think you find her right in the middle of this room with just all these other tables with other people working, and it's just lots of numbers, lots of paperwork, accountant things.
Yeah, just accountancy.
And Celestine is sitting there with one of her hands up, kind of holding her hair back as she's looking down at paper, and she's holding her pen in her other hand. And you ask her this, and you hear a light snoring in return.
I will just very slightly bump the desk situation.
Yeah, her hand slips and her head just hits the desk, and she wakes up. I'm up. Hi, where am I?
Oh, hey, we just walked up and saw nothing.
It seems that baby dragon needs your help.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I thought you told me it was a monitor lizard.
No, baby dragon is its name.
It's his name. Okay. I mean, I've only been up for 2 hours, so yeah, I don't want to be here. And she leans over to a man who's sitting next to her working on counting. She goes, hey, Craig, and reaches out and pushes his arm. Craig, can you cover for me again?
Yeah.
You're the best.
You owe me so many.
Do y'all just want to come to? This is awful. You're doing the most boring shit.
Hey, someone's got to do it, man.
Somebody
Not
from
me,
across the
though.
room goes, but who will balance the city's accounts?
Someone's got to do it, just not me right now. So, let's go.
Yes, you wouldn't want them all to quit doing this, or else there'd be no one there to cash you out when you get a bounty.
Bless you all. You're doing God's work. Well done. Caden, Kalian, bless you. And I'll stroll out.
Yeah, Celestine just grabs a bunch of stuff from her desk and shoves it in her backpack and kind of again hides her face with her hand, she's not recognizable as long as you can't see her face, and walks out with everyone.
You all make the trek back towards the Umbra Carnival grounds. As you arrive, it is empty. It's clearly not operational for the day yet. There are crew walking around, getting things in order. And the one that came and fetched you, Quinn, is kind of waiting near the front and waves you all down, and gestures for you to go find his boss, Mistress Delison. Says that she's the one who called for you, and she will be waiting by her wagon behind the big top for you.
Okay, I'll lead the way around.
Okay. Yeah, you head behind the big top, and it's an area that's not really for patrons. This isn't somewhere you went last night. There's not a pathway to get you here or anything. But as you get behind the tent, there are just sprawling wagons, and it seems like this is like the crew wagons. This is where everybody sleeps. This is where they travel. This is where like the permanent staff reside and do their work and stuff when they're not manning events out in the carnival. And there is one that is sort of up on a little hill towards the back of all of them that looks a little bit bigger and more ornate. And there is a woman sitting near a campfire that is built out in front of that wagon. And she seems to notice you all as you enter the wagon's area and gives a wave for you to head her direction.
What's the name of this woman?
He referred to her as Mistress Delison.
Thank you.
Well, stroll up, mistress.
She sighs, and she says, "Don't call me that. You can call me Almara." And she stands to greet you all. Whoop, 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 whoop. And she is wearing a very like ornate, festive kind of robe, but in muted colors, like to give off the air of like being a member of the circus, but like being sort of the more businessy member of the circus. She is wearing a head scarf with stars on it, and she's got long black hair that is hanging from underneath it. And she's got some tattoos on her face, like on her chin up to her lips and underneath her eyes. And she looks exhausted and not particularly like friendly, but she seems pleased to see you as she greets you all.
I'm sort of mumbling out of this corner of my mouth. She's aloof and she's got tattoos. This is going to be a problem.
You're ignoring me, so you're obviously my type.
Hey, you know what? Maybe just not all of us like to be up during the day, and we're not as excitable, and we're more cranky, and that's not our fault.
Fair.
And I'm just like rubbing my eyes, like trying to stay awake.
How can we help you, Almora?
She's kind of like eyeing you all over. She gestures for all of you to sit around the campfire as well as she does. And she's giving a bit of like a disparaging look at Celestine, who seems like her head's not totally in the game right now. And she says, "Well, I have heard about your efforts yesterday in the regrettable incident with our dragon. First of all, thank you. I understand that payment has already been made, and I'm glad of it. Unfortunately, I fear that I could use your help with another matter."
Is Baby Dragon okay?
Yes, the baby dragon is fine. This does not concern the baby dragon. It seems as though you have not yet heard, which gives me some hope, but, well, there was a murder in town last night, and the circumstances, I am told, implicate people from my circus.
The Critshow is a Critshow Studios production, edited and produced by Brandon Wentz with music by Jake Purley. You can find more information about us at thecritshowpodcast.com. To keep up to date with upcoming live shows, contests, and other special events, follow us at The Crit Show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For even more weekly content, join us at patreon.com/thecritShow.